Easter Sunday, you'd go for the Easter water to the church and bring whatever, a couple of containers of it anyway, and you'd keep it until the 1st of May. And you'd get out your bottles in, and you'd do the house first with it. Spread the Easter water around the house, and on the animals, and in the fields, to give you a good look. If you didn't, they said that they take, you wouldn't have good luck if you didn't spread it, the Easter water.
There was another thing then, the rogation days. That used to go out with the holy water and shake it in the crops.
In the direction.
And the animals and on your house and everywhere.
Well, we do that, yes.
I do, I suppose.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, I would. I'd go around with it.
The Easter water.
Easter water, it comes from the Latin verb rogare, task. A 3 rogation days.
Well, the priest would bless a barrel of Easter water for us at the church. And we'd all be coming with bottles, and we take home, I've seen people taking 2 large bottles of Easter water, and I know for one of my sister Essie.
Oh, yeah.
And you walk the headlands of all the fields you have, and you sprinkle it with Easter water, and the crops will all grow.
Oh yeah, it's shaking holy water on all the fields, yeah. I did, May Eve, yeah. I did, I used to do it one time. Spread the holy water on all the fields. And you put a May bush in the cow heap. Outside the cows.
I wish to remember that all right.
Yeah, with May bush.
Was that what it was?
Whatever the May bush, yeah. Keep the pishogs away or something.
May Eve, first you go out and you shake holy water all around the 4 corners of your field or garden, wherever you had, and you picked a bit of a May bush on your way back, and you just, as you're going in, you hang it over the door.
Used to have a May bush.
A May bush,
in my time, yeah.
And you put in the fields.
Pushed in the dunghill. And we used to put all ribbons on it, and we used to get flowers and tie them around in bunches and sew them onto all the branch, or just stick them onto the branches.
The farmers were told never to give away milk on the 1st of May, or to have it's a bad luck, or to be giving away milk or something for the rest of the year. I think we heard. If you give it away on the 1st of May, you'd be giving it away for the rest of that year, and you'd have bad luck or something like that.
No farmer would give you milk because his milk would go to, his quantity of milk would go down if he gave away the milk on the 1st of May to anybody, not even to a neighbour would he give it. The same with potatoes. I know that now from my own experience, that I sold a cartload of potatoes to a farmer in May, and my crop was just marvellous.
On May morning, when the dew was on the grass, you went out early and you washed your face to keep away blemishes of all sorts.
Well, you wash your face in the May dew, and you see the face of the person you're going to marry. Well, all going well.
The May dew,
We were supposed to get it on our hands and rub it into our face and give us lovely faces.
Walk on your bare feet and the May dew.
If we had corns now to walk in the morning, the Jews, to take him away, to walk in the morning, Jew early in the morning, for something from corns. It was supposed to be a great cure to Jew in the morning.
My mother now used to tell us that in May we'd have a bit of a May altar, and we bring in primroses, and she'd say, I told you not to pick them primroses, because the geese were hatching, and she said there'd be no goslings.
Oh yeah, if a May morning now, if we went out and found eggs in your land, the eggs was what you'll take your health. You ever heard that?
I didn't know of that.
Yeah. If we found eggs in the field.
Didn't have a thing we wish believe I.
No, sure I know, but I just swear we heard it anyway. The eggs was what did the health, to take your health. Yeah.
If somebody wished you bad luck, they would bury bacon somewhere on your farm, on the land. So we lived outside town. We were also on the farm, but we lived just outside town. And I remember one day a dog coming up and getting a big lump of bacon out of where I had roses, you know. He just scrabbled and he put up this lump of bacon. So I said, there must be something in that, you know. So I don't think we didn't have bad luck after it.
You see, if we get found an egg in the drill the spuds is all rot. Yeah, it's all rot. They used to put eggs in the drill the spuds before. We were told that anyway.
We were told
if we found them anyway, spuds that do no good for the ear. No good, yeah.
When a cow would calve, the first thing that was done was a nape was put into it, get the calf's mouth, just cracked, and the calf would swallow it. And they'd get fists of salt and throw it all over the calf, and the cow would lick it. It would stand up then and look for its little feed.
If we washed your feet in the spring well we call it, or a holy well, either of the two. That's what, they have to make a little of the well to wash our feet in it. It would rise up and maybe come up a mile or two further up the field. Yeah, to wash your feet in it. Yeah.
Supposing you came to my house and I was making butter. Now, it didn't depend on the make of the churn. It could be one that you twist around, or it could be one that you go up and down. And if you didn't take your turn in doing it, the butter you wouldn't have butter, you just have crumbly butter.
Anyone that come in that if the woman was swallowing butter in the kitchen,
Yeah.
that or they give a hand to it. You see, give a couple of twists.
Yeah.
If we didn't say they took the butter from them or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The only time it ever went wrong on people was if there was thunder. It would affect the cream, and that would mean that there'd be no butter. That could happen all right.
But when the butter is made, if you're lucky, you had 2 little platters, and there was a rose maybe or something fancy on it, and you'd pat it on the butter, put it into a piece of greaseproof paper, you tie it and leave it on the door or on the window for the fairies to be gone in the morning you get up.
Every Christmas, my brother would have to go out, my father and mother were there, and he'd have to go out and walk in again, and say a happy Christmas to everybody. Did you ever hear that? And he'd have to go down, there was an old woman lived down at the end of our road, and he'd have to go down to her then and say the same thing. And she loved it. But then he got big, he became a teenager, if you like, maybe
do
more.
that, yeah.
And he said, I'm going to do that no more. And then there was a row.
Oh.
So that ended all that.
There was a parish priest in the mines one time. And the big estate, at the far side of the mines, is Kilby. You know that, yeah. Kilby. And so Father Cunningham was his name. And he was walking his dog. And the dog went in over the ditch, and this old lord was inside with a gun. And he shot the dog. And he had to come to the priest after. All his stock died. And the same as him. The priest put a hard look on him. Yeah. He shot his dog. The dog just went in over the ditch and he shot him. So he hadn't looked for it anywhere.
We'll say I was out in the field saving hay, and I was maybe using the mowing machine or hay rake or anything like that, and I had a horse attached to it. I brought that horse home that evening, took off its collar and tattle and whatever it had on, but I had to hang the collar a certain way. The collar had to be faced, the part of that hit the horse's breast had to be turned out, not in, not like that. And you left it there until Monday morning, you brought it out and put it back on your horse, and you made the sign of the cross on the collar before you put it on the horse.
And there was another one, I don't know, it would be more of a religious thing. My father used to do it if the cattle were, to keep the cattle from getting sick. out in the field, and you'd get a medal at the mission, could buy medals, you know, though you buy medals at the mission, a Benedict medal, and stick it down in the ground, in the field where the cattle would be, and they'd never get sick or die.
This man, anyway, he couldn't keep his cows from dying. So he went to the priest anyway, and he told him. And he said, go home, he says, and redden the coulter of a plough. Or what the coulter of a plough is now, you put it on the plough, and it would cut the scab along before the plough. And redden it in the fire. And while that's reddening, the man that done that to you will come to you. So this man showed up after. The coulter was getting ready to the red hot, and your man came to the door. They were doing their job.
Did he?
The priest was doing that. Yeah.
It's not all that long ago. I had a cousin visiting me, and the next thing was the robin came in. They always came looking for a bit of food. I never took any notice of it. But she said, oh God, she says, so one of us is going to die. And not too long after, the poor woman herself died. She died. Well, she was good. She was a good age. She was in her 80s. But I always thought of that. But still, I wouldn't believe that the poor robin would be the cause of anyone's death.
Well, a robin came into our house one day and about a week after my husband died. And then the knock on the door came, our door went up, and both doors, back door and front door, and the lads went out and no one was all there. And my brother-in-law died a week or so after.
We were in school together, and my friend used to take epileptic fits, God rest her soul. And she'd never take him until the robin landed on the sanctuary lamp. And she died. He used to always turn around and kind of sing his little tune. And he came in this morning, and he never whistled or anything. We knew she was gone. She went to one of them. Oh, I did. I know about the robin. Or if a robin comes in and was back out, that's a sure sign of a death. If he flies into the house and he just comes in and goes back out. Or a lonely swan in a lake is a sure sign of death.
If you had say you had a lamp hanging on the wall, a lamp and a candle, and someone else lit something else, that'd be 3 lights. And that was supposed to be a sign of a death as well. Death in the house.
I heard my brother saying that before my father died, he was coming home from somewhere one night and he heard the banshee. And he said, that's a sign of something. And he told me that a few nights after, a few days after, his father died.
If we picked up a comb off of the road, the banshee would come knocking at the window at night time, looking, you should never pick up a comb. Now a knife. A knife is supposed to take your health. If you found a penknife, it was all the bad looking a knife. Yeah. But the comb, as you say, if we picked it up off the road, the banshee would come at a certain hour of the night and knock on the window for the comb.
For the comb?
And this woman one time, the banshee knocked, and she got the comb and she put it in the tongs, you know the tongs, and left it out to the window like that. And the tongues was cut in two.
Jesus Patrick will tell you lies.
Yeah, the tongues was cut. If she left it out with her hand, her arm was gone. She left the tongues, and the tongues was cut in two. I heard that anyway.
Well, down at Connor's Cross, there was this tree in a farm, in a field, and the children used to go out there and play. And the next day they went out, and there was a whole lot of combs there. And they took them home to their mother, and the mother said, them are the banshee combs. Take them back and put them where you got them. So she made them take back the combs, but they were supposed to be there still doing their hair. And that happened at Gurteen Cross now.
Who was there? The Banshee was there, was it? No?
The Banshee.
No.
Banshee, yeah.
This man I went to, I was there about 2 months ago. And I said, I heard you had a cure for warts. He said, I have, sit down there. So he got a bottle and he got a bit of, it was like a bit of cotton wool to me, and he dipped it in the bottle and rubbed it to me wart there, and there was one here which is gone. This one I still have it, and anywhere else you have one, he says, or something like that. And I says, what am I to do now? He says, you have to go to the church and say 1 Our Father and 3 Hail Marys and light a couple of candles, as often as you like. I've done that, but the wart isn't gone yet.
The word
This one is gone though.
That was
on my neck.
And another thing was your fasting spit. Did you ever hear that? That would cure if you had a bile or anything like that, and rub the first spit in the morning to it.
And did you ever hear if you had Easter wash, or if you had it for 7 years?
I think I did. There was a cure in it.
Yeah.
There was someone coming in here, and he had a terrible leg, and he said he made the dog lick it, and I got better, in spite of all
the medicines and the whatever, yeah.
I heard tell of a man that just if you got burnt, if they licked a frog, an outlookers belly, they could cure the burn.
I never heard that.
Well, I did, and they done it, and it was cured. I don't know what an outlooker is. It an outlooker or a frog?
Well, if we take a stick to a force, and if we got a pot and die of a thorn or anything like that, you could lose your eye. Yeah. You should never meddle with a fortress there.
No, that's what you shouldn't.
No, never meddle with it. Although it is done. There's a bulldozer in them now.
Yeah, and there used to always be underground from one fort to another.
That's right, yeah.
Do you ever hear of that?
And where you see 1 fort, you'll see 3.
You see 3.
Yeah.
If you believe it.
Yeah. When you go into a fort, you can count 3. 1, 2, 3. You stand in 1, you can count 2 more.
Yeah.
You'll see it from where you're standing.
It was easy to make fools out of us.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do anything to the fort. If you took sticks or anything, or touch it, you'd get bad luck, supposed to get bad luck. Your family would have bad luck. So you couldn't touch the fort.
I know people now, and they were farmers, nice farmers, and they never had a decent fire, and they had 5 or 6 grand ash trees in the fort. One time they caught one of them anyway, and that's the cow. For no reason at all, and they said it was the fairy fort.
No man that went out to, like Mrs., to get some firewood, really it was. But he didn't see Master Full on Sunday. And he was, like Mrs. there, the neighbours begged him not to do it, not to go into it. And he said he would. He said that he didn't believe in it. His funeral was, he was being buried on a Sunday.
I remember all right, this man, he was supposed to have taken wood out of the fort, and everybody kept saying that he'd be, the fairies would jinx him, and he had a bit of bad luck, seemingly, through, in his coming years, and they blamed him for, they said it was because he took the sticks from the fairies. I suppose it would have happened to him anyway.
But you don't do away with them now, do you?
No.
You leave them there.
Yeah, it's not lucky to touch.
Oh, it's dangerous, very unlucky to touch a fairy fort. Or a mess pet.
But that's only another pish.
Well, they won't do it. Well, I remember we'd be sent out in the evenings after school to pick little things, brishna they call it. It was to start the fire. And there was beautiful ones in the old fort because no one would pick them. And you'd look in at those beautiful, we were terrified. And we'd love to have gone in, we're walking over into the fort. But we used to steal into the fort now and again, and it was full of bluebells.
That's right.
But we wouldn't pick the bluebells there. And they were lovely, lovely bluebell flowers. We were scared of a fort. I would be to this day. Or a mess pet, I wouldn't touch it, anything like that now.
And if there was a very cute child or very clever child, some they had they'd say, oh, that little one, that one's going at the fairies. She knew so much, you know, said she's going at the fairies.
Yeah, you can't stop anyone going through your land if they have this mess patches in it. There was one where I lived too. You could go, if you had to go all around the road, you'd have to go about 2 miles, and you could go across and cross this mess path.
Yes, that's what they used to
And
too.
it was right in the middle of the field. And the field was right near where I lived. It wasn't ours, but it was beside it. And some man went astray one night, coming down that path. They were playing cards or something.
Yeah.
And someone told him that what he should have done is turn your coat inside out, and you'll find the mess path. You'll find the path again.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know.
People playing cards at night time, you know, and if they left before 12 o'clock, they had no problem of going home across the field. But if that's at 12 o'clock in at night, the dead hour of the night, they couldn't get out of the field, couldn't reach the gate. The gate would be there and they couldn't see it. So they'd take off their coat and they say a prayer and all is over then. That's what I heard anyway.
Used to be in the pub before they left.
Yeah.
A man got lost in the field and he couldn't get out of it. So he turned his coat and then he got out. Just say there's something to it. A fairy, and don't have a fairy blast. A fairy blast is called. The fairies would be after you. And I suppose if you didn't do those things, turn your coat or that, it was bad, you wouldn't be able to get out. Unless somebody came on you or something.
But I often heard that if you got into a situation like that where you'd be going around and round, turn your coat inside out and put it on. And you get on the right path.
There was people shot, you know, years and years ago. And in the very place where the man was shot, the horse wouldn't pass it. And unless you said to some prayer, you would say over it, and the horse would walk away. There's something now that says, like Morgan Bryan, I do nothing to you. This man, the name of Morgan Bryan was shot. Yeah. Morgan Bryan, I do nothing to you, and the horse walked away. When he said the words. Yeah.
We'd all be terrified if we were out in a winter's evening and it was dark and if we met a black dog on the road, we'd be terrified, thinking it was Dowl fella. Thinking it was the devil himself. But that was all, sure we grew up afterwards, it was all nonsense.
There was supposed to be a ghost in this house, you know, and there was supposed only someone acting up maybe or something, but anyway, there was supposed to be a ghost in this house, and this lad said he wouldn't be afraid of it. You know, he'd sit there all night, you know, and if he comes, I won't be afraid, you know. So anyway, the lad came on and said, nobody here but you and I. Nobody here but you and I. If I had other boat on, says your man, there'd be no one here near yourself. Fair enough, well said, Lena.
At that time, a lot of fowl used lay out, and people knew where they were laying, and they'd watch them. And May Eve, they go out and they'd collect the eggs that'd be in the nest and bring them in. And in the dark of the night, then they'd go in and put them into the farmers, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Into the farmers.
Yeah.
Bales, you know.
Yeah.
Cow bales. I'm talking about where they drive the cows into, you know. And the cows would sling. If they were in calf, they'd sling. And if they didn't do that, the milk would all cruddle.
Yeah.
I heard that when May Day come, or May night or whatever, they'd put the eggs down in the drill and they covered it in a little with clay, and that was the cause of bad luck for whoever owned the place, I don't know.
But sometimes if a person or the farmer's wife found the eggs in a boundary ditch that was between them and the next farm, they think that was a pre-show. Somebody put them there to wish them bad luck. And they think they're going to have some bad luck in their farm, you know. Somebody put they used to blame people for putting the eggs there, not the hens.
And another one was when my grandmother was very ill. She was 90-something, 91 too, when she died. And the cock crew in the door 3 times, in the kitchen door.
Yeah.
Did you hear that one?
I heard that one.
Yeah. I don't know, did you?
If the cock crows 3 times, something.
But he stood on the doorstep. And crew, yeah, she was ill at the time. But the next day she was dead.
Yeah, they said that you weren't supposed to, I never heard it about the animal, but you weren't supposed to eat a person with it or a child. The other stick. So it shouldn't be lucky. So that and the peacock's feather. Don't you attempt to bring that inside the house. The eye and the peacock's feather. I don't know how what truth was in it, but you daren't bring it in anyway. I'd bring it in with your father.
It's supposed to be bad luck to bring the lilac in and the white thorn. Is it white thorn or black thorn? Well, it's the blossom.
The blossom, the white blossom.
The white blossom, yeah.
The other thing is the palm. Always have, after Palm Sunday, bring home the palm and leave it in the house till next year and you never have a fire in it. I've heard that. Do you bring home Palm on Palm Sunday and put it in your house?
And
always. You know,
I tie a bit up over the Sacred Heart.
And they say that
Kitchen,
you'd never have a
another
fire.
bit upstairs then.
They reckon that you'll never have a fire in your house.
Yeah, no, it's the Blessed Ashes. If you bring home Blessed Ashes and keep it, you'll never have a fire.
All right.
If we brought in primroses, I remember that at home. If we brought in primroses, if there was a hen hatching, you'd have to take them out. You can't have them in here. We'll have no chickens. Yeah, the hen might leave the chickens. I don't remember her leaving the chickens, but I remember having to get out of my primroses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they say, if a robin came in your window or came into your kitchen or anything, that was a death in the house. There'd be, sign of a death. And people just get scared, like,
2 years ago, last June, I was out in the garden pulling up weeds, and this robin perched in front of me and stayed. And the next thing I heard, my brother-in-law was dead in England. Just stayed with me. But I had heard about the robin before that. But that actually happened to myself 2 years ago, last June.
So it's supposed to be very bad luck to put shoes or boots, whatever, any kind of footwear on a table. That's supposed to bring bad luck.
Oh yes, you would never leave shoes on the table.
Shoes on the table, sign of a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know people sometimes when they wash their feet late at night, they would not throw out the water that they wash their feet in. It's supposed to be bad luck. They'd leave it until the morning to throw it out. They would have bases of buckets for washing their feet.
Around here, most people would say to you, if you're going to move house, move on a Friday. Even if you just sleep there on the Friday night, and even if you have to move your furniture at another time, if you have everything else in another day, but really it's best to sleep your first night in a new house on a Friday.
Thou shalt not walk on the Sabbath day was the great commandment, and if you wanted to save your hair and there was storm due on Monday or Tuesday, you had to go to the parish priest, and if he says no, you haven't got permission to walk on a Sunday, you let your hair go rotten in the field.
I remember my uncle and my aunt, now they were quite superstitious, and my uncle wouldn't take money for cattle on any Monday, and then my aunt sometimes might send me up with the money to him.
And you had to come back with it again, would you?
I suppose he took it then, but he wouldn't want to take it, he'd be mad over it, you know. But she'd say, I'll send you up with the money now today to make to see. You know, but she wouldn't take money herself on a Monday. She had to wait until Tuesday to get it. They wouldn't take it.
Yeah, don't pay out on a Monday. Because if you pay out, that's what did you say?
You'll be paying out for the rest of the year.
That's
money.
Oh, what Monday is it? Hansel Monday.
Yeah.
That's Hansel Monday. The first Monday of the year is Hansel Monday. And you don't pay anybody. Let them go to hell or high water, but you don't pay them anyway on Hansel Monday.
They wouldn't sell the cattle on a Sunday, but they would on a weekday. Yeah.
Well, this man was a pig dealer, and he went out of a Sunday and picked up a couple of pigs, and where he had the place rented, he was putting them in until he had so many to take off to the factory. So when he put them in, he broke his leg, and that was of his Sunday. He'd done his first Sunday and his last Sunday, but the man is dead now.
But they recommend that you don't get married on a Friday. Yeah, and that a double wedding is not lucky. That's a thing around here. People say a double wedding, it's not lucky to have a double wedding, and don't get married on a Friday.
Married in May and you'll rue the day. Did you ever hear anyone getting married in May?
No.
I didn't anyway.
Oh, they are now, aren't they? I think there was one. Was there one? No, there's one coming off now, and this is the month of May.
I heard that some people now, if they happen, say, got to have this inside out, you know, the jacket. Leave it as it is, that's for luck. Leave your jacket inside out. I got off it, didn't you? Yeah, leave it like that. Who's looking at you? Leave your jacket for luck.
If you put your clothes on inside out, you leave them on inside out, because if you turn them the right way, your look is gone.
Imagine going to Mass now with your coat turned inside out.
The other thing I just bring to mind there about good luck and bad luck. If you were walking towards a funeral, no matter whose funeral it was, you always had to stop and turn and at least walk 3 steps with it. And then, otherwise you'd never have any luck if you didn't walk at least 3 steps with the funeral. Total strange funeral. Even in a city like Cork City, in the centre of the city, you turn around in Partle Street and you go, I used to do it, you go at least 3 steps with the funeral and then you turn around and go about your business.
If you're seeing a red-haired woman first thing in the morning, you can go home and go to bed.
That's right,
The Lord of mercy.
Poor
Mary Hall.
Mary
You know, Mary Hall, the Lord of mercy.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Mary was as red as fire, wasn't she?
She was, definitely, yeah.
Oh, we wouldn't have a bit of luck for the day. Oh, go away. You needn't do anything today.
Red hair.
Mary Hall was the first woman you met today.
Yes,
Jesus,
that's right.
tonight, wasn't they terrible pishogues?
Oh, they were.
Of course, there was a lot of them through.
It's always supposed to be unlucky to meet a woman on the road with red hair first thing in the morning.
Well, I'm telling you, she'd tell you something, a thing or two today, and you said that
tell you. No, it was very unlucky to meet a woman with red hair on your road early in the morning, wherever you were going, a fair or anything.
And there was this man coming to my home playing the violin, and he used to go fishing. But he used to say to my mother, if I met a red-haired woman, says he, I'd turn him back because she said I would catch one.
Turn back, yes, she'd bring bad luck.
Yeah, she'd bring back bad luck.
If ever you were given a purse to somebody, or if they won a purse here, we'd have to put a couple of cents in
You
it.
never put anything in anyone I bought here.
You'd have to put something in, it's a look penny they call it, you know. So even a couple of weeks ago, a woman brought me back a little purse that she won. She said there was no money in it. She said, here, you have to put something in it. So they believe that it's, you'll never be short if you win a purse and there's a few pence in it.
I was working with a farmer when I was young, and when they'd be churning the butter, maybe the housewife would be maybe churning for a half an hour, no sign of the butter, the cream breaking. So they would shout at me, Tom, come in and give the churn a turn. And always, when they claimed I was lucky, very immediately I'd touch it, the cream would break and the turn into butter.
Yeah, I suppose people used to make their own butter that time. And at that time then someone might want to have more profit from their cows or something, and they'd bury some butter in your fields, and then you'd be supposed to lose the milk, and they'd be supposed to gain a lot of milk from it, you know, or whatever.
If you came out in the morning and you were going out to your what you call milking parlour to milk your cows, and there was some milk splashed up your door frame of your milking parlour, that was a fish out that somebody had gone in, and that was to put a curse on your cows. So a lot of your cows dried up and your milk yield went down if somebody put that fish out on you.
I still bring out we used to wash the garden even and shake it, the Easter water.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
And we used to shake it on the cows going out after milking. And I lived in the country as young, had the cows.
I didn't live in the country until I came to Banter, but
when they were going out, they'd be going out on grass for the first day. They'd be after being in all the winter, and we'd shake the Easter water on them.
Yeah.
You blessed everything with the Easter water, yes, and you blessed the cows calving, as I said, and pigs with the bonnets and everything like that. And as well as that, you brought out the blessed candle, and put the sign of the cross on the cow's back. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
When she was having a cough, they put the sign of the cross with the candle grease, the blessed candle grease.
And that Easter water will be preserved until May Eve. And on May Eve, mostly the woman of the house would go out around and sprinkle a sprinkle of water on the corner of every field. Now, if they had a lot of land and a lot of fields, then what they would do is they would go to the four corners of their farm and they would sprinkle the water on it. And it would have to be done before 12 o'clock on May Eve, 12 o'clock at night, midnight on May Eve.
But my mother used to do it around the house, the ordinary house, and the four corners, back and front and inside.
Yeah.
And I still keep it up. People would be, I suppose, laughing at you, but I still keep it up, sprinkling. Yeah.
I even done it this year.
Yeah, I did it.
I do it every year.
Yeah.
The four corners of the place and the four corners of the house.
Yeah.
Every year I do it.
We had to have 3 meals of nettles in the month of May, otherwise you could get anything during the year. I usually boil them now too, in the month of May. They're lovely.
The iron, there's a huge iron content.
Huge iron.
It was a great thing to eat a lot of eggs on Easter Sunday morning. And people who didn't have chickens, and town people, like when I lived in the town most of my life, we didn't have chickens, so we didn't steal eggs or buy eggs. What we did, we went out the country a bit and we stopped at different farms. And you see, I'm collecting a few eggs for Easter, and they'd give you a couple of eggs. And you'd probably come home with about 2 dozen eggs, and everybody'd have a great feed in the morning.
All around the country, we collected eggs for Easter as a custom.
It was, yeah, the people would make
More or
a
less.
present to people with eggs, you know, give a present of half a dozen eggs or whatever they had that come along with them. Yeah.
And they boiled a pot of eggs Easter morning, and everybody in the house would eat as many eggs as they could.
Yeah, they weren't thinking of cholesterol
I
then
remember
times.
now, as my brother would boil a whole pot of eggs, and one of my brothers, he might eat 5 or 6 eggs.
Yeah, there you are.
And we used to go to a holy well at Easter, you know, and You'd make a wish. Myself and my sister used to go to it. Yeah.
There's a well in Mitchellstown called St. Fanahan's Well, and they have the patron day on the 25th of November every year. And people go down there and pray. A lot of people go down there as well to pray for cures. And there's supposed to be an eel in the well. And if you see the eel, you're supposed to get cured. But if not, you don't. But then in olden days, my father told me that someone they disrespected the well in some way. I think they washed dirty clothes in it. They knew to the holy well, and trod up in Briggown, and it moved back down to where it is now. It's not far from the church in Mitchellstown.
The only thing, there was a sandpit near the holy well now where we were in Kilshan, and the men were working, and they went down there, they were boiling potatoes, and they went down there and put that water, the holy water, on the thing, and you know that the fire made on the outside, but it never boiled.
There was an old saying that if you suffer from shingles, cattle's blood. That cattle's blood was the mother and father had to be the same name. They both had to be cattles. They'd be pure cattle, and the blood from the children of that family would be cure for shingles.
Well, I was told that if you went out in the May Dew barefoot without any fuel, that is good for your feet. That's what I heard.
Well, they said it was good for your feet to walk in the dew. They still do.
At any time?
Yes, any time. It's good to walk in the dew.
I remember when we go to school, if we'd worked, my mother used to tell us to go to the well and to wash our hands or whatever, and that the works would go.
Well, you just take up the snail and say to him, shellicky, shellicky, bogey, put out your horns, and when he would, you'd rub him on the wart.
But some of these old stains are still going on, because I only got the jingles less than 4 years ago, and everybody says to me, go down to Mrs. Carroll. She's a nurse and she draws blood off her husband and gives it to people to spread on their shingles. But I don't believe in these old superstitions very much, so I went to the doctor instead.
And there was another thing in May. Do you know what a fort is? The bushes all around.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to take us down every Saturday in May, me and my sister. Now I used to break out in a terrible rash all around there. And we used to say the decade of the roads, the whole rosary right around these trees. And you go over, there was a holy well there, and you rubbed a drop of the water to you, and you put on a bit of a rag or whatever, pitch or anything.
I
never got it back after.
They said you couldn't meddle with a fort at all, and that if you took anything out of it, I think my father said he knew people that didn't meddle with him or do some cut down trees or something, and that they didn't live long afterwards, you know. It was supposed to be very unlucky, and no one would go near anything in a list, you know. They wouldn't touch stones or anything like that out of it at all.
I'm telling you, they wouldn't build anywhere where there was a fort. Any field as a fort, and they never touched it. They didn't plough it nor build. They done nothing in that field. That field was always for grazing.
Well, the only thing I know about it is that I advise you never to build on the fairy path, because you'd never have any luck. But I heard stories about people who started to build a house, and when they came in the following morning, they continued with the building. The part they'd put up had been demolished during the night. But whether it was the fairies or people jealous of them having a new house, I don't know. Might have knocked it down in the night time, but they always said it was the fairies who knocked it down anyway. And then they'd build a house somewhere else. If the fairies knocked their house down, they wouldn't rebuild it in the same spot. They'd move away a bit. So they'd be off the fairy path then.
And another thing about the fort is that you should never cut them down.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, because the man that owned the field, lived a bit away from us, and he got the workman to do it, and he did not live long after that either. Not the workman, the man that told him to cut the limb off of the fore bush.
There's there's an old abbey up in Cahir Abbey.
Yeah.
And there is a graveyard around it, but underneath it there is a monk's graveyard. The monks are buried there. Any of them that died during the reign of it, they're buried underneath.
Yeah.
And if you go down in there, oh yes, Kennedy's knocked down whatever ruin was left there.
And they built
a piggery for 30 or 40 pigs
over
it. They didn't a pig thrive, they all died, and something happened to them.
They're all gone now, of course. The
Kennedys are all wiped out now.
Yeah. And that lot anyhow.
Well, Pat Nugent's father now, he cut a jack bush in the fort and he lost his finger.
So people put it down to that.
They were afraid of it. But he lost his finger anyway, got blood poison, the finger had to be taken off. So they blamed that for it, but I don't know.
The she gear in the fields. In I know that what month it is, that the hay, I think you heard it tell you that, didn't you, May? The hay, a cock of hay could be often shifted out of a field. And they used to say to us, and you should keep out of the way. If you were in the field, you'd see that happening. And to whirl around, it could be shifted into another field. And you'd be supposed to, if it was happening, I used to hear him telling this in the house of the music, lie down and let it go of you. Yeah. Because the fairies, they take you, cock of hay and all. Oh God, I'm telling that now, of course, a lot of the people, they say a lot of crap. Yeah.